Hello and welcome to the 9th day of the Yulin Dog Meat Festival Marathon. We only have one more day left, and I'm gonna save the best for last, because that's how you should really conclude festivities like this. This is an article by Jonathan Foer called Let Them Eat Dog, a Modest Proposal for Tossing Fido in the Oven. And I thought this article was interesting because it's a pro-dog meat article that was written in 2009. That kind of stuff was very progressive and kind of risque. I'm not going to add too much commentary because it's already very well written, so I'm just going to get started now. Despite the fact that it's perfectly legal in 44 states, eating man's best friend is as taboo as a man eating his best friend. Even the most enthusiastic carnivores won't eat dogs. TV guy and sometimes cooker Gordon Ramsay can get pretty macho with lambs and piglets when doing publicity for something he's selling. But you'll never see a puppy peeking out of one of his pots. And even though he once said he'd electrocute his children if they became vegetarian, one can't help but wonder what his response would be if they poached the family pooch. Dogs are often regarded as wonderful and in many ways unique. But they are remarkably unremarkable in their intellectual and experiential capacities. Pigs, which are known to be more intelligent than dogs, are every bit as intelligent and feeling, by any sensible definition of the words. They can't hop into the back of a Volvo, but they can play fetch, run, and play, be mischievous, and reciprocate affection. So why don't they get to curl up by the fire? Why can't they at least be spared being tossed in the fire? Our taboo against eating dogs says something about dogs and says a great deal about us. The French who love their dogs sometimes eat their horses. The Spanish who love their horses sometimes eat their cows. The Indians who love their cows sometimes eat their dogs. While written in much different contexts, George Orwell's words from Animal Farm apply here. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So who's right? What might be the reason to exclude canine from the menu? The selective carnivore suggests, don't eat companion animals. But dogs aren't kept as companions in all places they are eaten. And what about our petless neighbors? Would we have any right to object if they had dog for dinner? Okay, then, don't eat animals with significant mental capacities. If by significant mental capacities we mean what a dog has, then good for the dog, but such a definition would also include the pig, cow, and chicken, and it would exclude severely impaired humans. Then it's for good reason that the external taboos, don't fiddle with your crap, kiss your sister, or eat your companions, are taboo. Evolutionarily speaking, those things are bad for us, but eating dogs isn't a taboo in many places, and it isn't in any way bad for us. Properly cooked dog meat poses no greater health risk than any other meat. Dog meat has been described as gamey, complex, buttery, and floral. And there is a proud pedigree of eating it. 4th century tombs contain depictions of dogs being slaughtered along with other food animals. It was a fundamental habit enough to have informed language itself. The Sino-Korean character for fair and proper, yong, literally translates into as cooked dog meat is delicious. I am proud of my Korean roots for that. Hippocrates praised dog meat as a source of strength. Dakota Indians enjoyed dog liver, and not so long ago Hawaiians ate dog brains and blood. Captain Cook ate dog. Roald Amundsen famously ate his sled dogs. Granted, he was really hungry. And dogs are still eaten to overcome bad luck in the Philippines, and as medicine in China and Korea, to enhance libido in Nigeria, and in numerous places on every continent because they taste good. For centuries, the Chinese have raised special breeds of dogs, like the black-tongued Chow for Chow, and many Europeans still have laws on the books regarding post-mortem examination of dogs intended for human consumption. Of course, something having been done just about everywhere is no kind of justification for doing it now. But unlike all farmed meat, which requires the creation and maintenance of animals, dogs are practically begging to be eaten. 3 to 4 million dogs and cats are euthanized annually. The simple disposal of these euthanized dogs is an enormous ecological and economical problem. But eating those strays, those runaways, those not quite cute enough to take home, not quite well behaved enough to keep dogs, would be killing a flock of birds with one stone, and eating it too. In a sense, it's what we're doing already. Rendering the conversion of animal protein unfit for human consumption into foods for livestock and pets allows processing plants to transform useless dead dogs into productive members of the food chain. In America, millions of dogs and cats are euthanized in animal shelters every year, become the food of our food. So let's just eliminate this inefficient and bizarre middle step. This need not challenge our civility. We won't make them suffer any more than necessary. While it's widely believed that adrenaline makes dog meat taste better, hence the traditional method of slaughter in China, hanging, boiling, alive, beating to death, we can all agree that if we're going to eat them, we should kill them quickly and painlessly, right? For example, the traditional Hawaiian means of holding the dog's nose shut in order to conserve blood must be regarded, socially if not legally, as a no-no. Perhaps we could include dogs under the Humane Methods of Slaughter Act. That doesn't say anything about how they're treated during their lives, and isn't subject to any meaningful oversight or enforcement. What does that sound like to you? But surely we can rely on the industry to self-regulate as we do with other eaten animals. I'm going to stop for a moment and just point out how it's a little confusing that there is a Humane Methods of Slaughter Act when you're doing something that, arguably isn't humane. I really don't know where this culture came from of people caring so much about animals that are going to be killed anyways. I mean, I'm not encouraging mistreatment of animals in any way, but they are going to be killed anyways, and you can't really be moral about something immoral you're doing. And I don't think that killing animals for food is immoral. It's done for a purpose. It's done for food. And I find killing animals to be used for food as a better alternative to just owning them and having them use up resources and not fulfilling any other purpose aside from pleasuring the owner. So back to this article. Few people sufficiently appreciate the colossal task of feeding a world of billions of omnivores who demand meat with their potatoes. The inefficient use of dogs, conveniently already in areas of high human population, take note, local food advocates, should make any good ecologist blush. One could argue the various humane groups are the worst hypocrites, spending enormous amounts of money and energy in a futile attempt to reduce the number of unwanted dogs, while at the same time propagating the irresponsible no dog for dinner taboo. If we let dogs be dogs and breed without interference, we would create a sustainable local meat supply with low energy inputs that would put even the most efficient grass-based farming to shame. For the ecologically minded, it's time to admit that dog is realistic food for realistic environmentalists. For those already convinced, here's a classic Filipino recipe I recently came across. I haven't tried it myself, but sometimes you can read a recipe and just know. Stewed dog, wedding style. First, delete a medium-sized dog, then burn off the fur over a hot fire. Carefully remove the skin while still warm and set aside for later. May be used for other recipes. Cut meat into 1-inch cubes. Marinate meat in a mixture of vinegar, peppercorn, salt, and garlic for 2 hours. Fry meat in oil using a large wok over an open fire. Then add onions and chopped pineapple and sauté until tender. Pour in tomato sauce and boiling water, add green peppers, bay leaf, and Tabasco. Cover and simmer over warm coals until the meat is tender. Blend in puree of dog's liver and cook for an additional 5 to 7 minutes. There's an overabundance of rational reasons to say no to factory-farmed meat. It is the #1 cause of global warming. It systematically forces tens of billions of animals to suffer in ways that would be illegal if they were dogs. It is a decisive factor in the development of swine and avian flus and so on. And yet, even most people who know these things still aren't inspired to order something else on the menu. Why? Food is not rational. Food is culture, habit, craving, and identity. Responding to factory farms calls for a capacity to care that dwells beyond information. We know what we see on undercover videos of factory farms and slaughterhouses is wrong. There are those who will defend a system that allows for occasional animal cruelty, but no one defends the cruelty itself. And despite it being entirely reasonable, the case for eating dogs is likely repulsive to just about every reader of this paper. The instinct comes before our reason and is more important. So that's going to do it for day 9. It's been a lot of fun this year. I hope to do it again next year. This has been very informative. It's been great to get out a lot of videos, and thank you guys for watching. I know this isn't exactly everyone's taste of entertainment, or this may be just an unusual topic for a lot of people, but I appreciate people who are open-minded about this, because it really is just meat. If you're okay eating pork, you should be okay with the idea of eating dog.